Well, hello to all my fourth grade friends at the Hilltop Primary. It is I, Mr. Brett. Earlier this week, I had you playing a little game, using what you know to figure out what you don't know, which of course was that super awesome piece of fossilized turtle poop, right? Now, today, we're talking landforms. The land here on the planet has been changing since the beginning. So many different things cause it to change. Sure, natural events like earthquakes and volcanoes, weather events like hurricanes, floods, people, oh by the way, people change the landscape. Here in Minnesota, about 10,000 years, something did a number on the landscape. And if you look behind me, in the distance there, you'll see way out there, that lake. That's a kettle lake. Kettle lakes are remnants from the glaciers are here. These hills that you slide on and all that shape around through over the forest, they're called moraines. Hills that were formed again by the glaciers. And as we go on this walk, you're going to see large rocks left behind from the glaciers. Now on the walk, we may find a few things too that are signs of from what the people were doing with this land before it was a nature center. Let's go. Just finished walking up the top of one of these hills, one of those moraines, and look what I found up at the top. There is a large rock right here in the middle of the trail that is just now, because of erosion, water washing over the surface of the ground here, taking some of that dirt with it, exposing this rock that may not have seen light for 10,000 some years, which is mind-blowing, but we're not done, Look, look, look. There's another giant one too. These are called Big Science Word Alert! Glacial erratics. These giant rocks that were kind of out along the edge of the glacier getting dropped off as that glacier retreated, as it slowly melted into what you can kind of see a little bit of that blue off in the distance. Some of the water down there into the lake. Yeah, this is so cool when I find these. I mean, part of me wonders, like, how big is this rock? Well, it looks big now. I mean, if I put my foot on it, you get an idea. Like, it's a big rock. But how big is it underneath the ground? Man, I just don't know. So when we find big piles of rocks like this is often a remnant, a sign for when the farms were here. And where this park is, Carver Park Reserve, 100 years ago, it used to be farmland. And the farmers would pile up all the rocks into one big field. And they still do this today, but to keep them away from the plow so it wouldn't then dent up all of their farm machinery. So yeah, so we find sometimes rocks in giant piles like this, a little bit different some of those single rocks we saw earlier. Dude, check out this rock. 1 billion years ago, there were volcanoes in this part of the world. That's right here in Minnesota. You're like, Mr. Brett, come on, volcanoes, Minnesota. Right. Well, this rock right in front of me is proof of that. Look at all of these holes, these spots where these gases were coming out as this rock formed. This is an example of an igneous rock, a rock that was formed by a volcano. You're like, well, wait, Mr. Brett, volcanoes, where in Minnesota were they? Well, they were up kind of by the Duluth area. All right, well, Mr. Brett, geez, Duluth. We're a little far away from Duluth right now. We are, but the cool thing is the glaciers, as they crept farther south, they picked rocks like this up and brought them with them. And then as they receded, as they melted, they dropped them off into places like this. All right, so I'm out here on one of the many docks out here at Carver Park. And yeah, dock is something that people have put in. We put this in over the water. It helps us get from one side, of course, to the other. But the water here that is running underneath this dock has continued to shape the land here. My challenge to you is sometime in the next week or two, get outside. 1, to enjoy the amazing fall colors that are all around us. 2, to just soak in some of those last couple warm days that we're going to have. But 3, come on out to Carver Park Reserve. Get with your family and go to Lake Minnetonka Regional Park. Go on a hike and see if you can find signs, find clues as to the story of the land. You know, looking for places where you know water has been. Looking for signs that people have shaped things. And maybe signs that we saw that pilings of rock, you know, where the farms used to be, or maybe just more current day stuff. Or can you find remnants from the glaciers? Can you see the shape of the land, the hills? Find some of those glacial erratics, those big rocks that are out there just that have been dropped off of the glaciers. But most importantly, just get outside. And that is what you need to do before I see you again. Just simply get outside.